Bam 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 bam, la 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 la, bam 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 bam, ay la la, da la 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 la, ah la 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 la, di la 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 la, ay da la la la, bam 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 bam, la 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 la, da la la la, ay ay, bam 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 bam. Ay 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 la la da 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 la la oh ya mama da la 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 da 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 la oh ya mama mama da li da 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 ay ay da 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 ay ma 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 Good morning, everybody. Blessed to continue to learn throughout the month of Kislev, sponsored by the Brenners, the Deutsches, and Mindy Barad. Weekly sponsorship this week by Tzvi and Yael Katzman in honor of Tzvi's Abba's first Yortzeit, Avram Moshe ben Shlomo Zev HaKohen V'Siril Zichrono Livracha, and by Zahava Englard and Norman Shapiro in the schus of their sons fighting in Gaza, in Aza, Avram Yosef ben Zavadina ve'Ezra ben Miriam Ilana. שיחזרו יחד עם כל חיילינו בניצחון, לשלום בריאים בגוף ובריאים בנפש. Okay. It's a good word. It's a good word. That word nitzachon is a good word, no? It's a very good word, nitzachon, a victory. Nitzachon doesn't just mean victory. Nitzachon, like I was discussing with a few of my friends this week, also comes from the root word of netzach, something that's everlasting. And menatzeach, a menatzeach is a conductor. A menatzeach of an orchestra is a conductor. That what a victory really looks like is much more than just saying we're victorious. Even that's a question. Like what is it? What is the nitzachon? What is the nitzachon that we're anticipating? In truth, this next level that we're in of learning could really be called, waking up from the coma part 2 or whatever. It's the same mahalach, but like I told you guys, I shared with you a few times that now the mahalach is an inside mahalach of the nefesh. Now it's soul stuff. Not that what we learned before wasn't, but right now we're going to be speaking all the terminology we've been speaking, but in the language of Chassidus and Kabbalah, which is the same thing, more or less. But on a level that we could hopefully, Be'ez Hashem, understand and relate to. On a level that we could understand. The learning that we're going to be doing is mainly from these two Sfarim. I don't know if you have it, you could bring it. These two Sfarim, mainly these two Sfarim of Rav Ginsburg. One of them is called Tikkun Medina. Sounds nice, no? Tikkun Medina. And one is called Mimena Yivashea. And we're going to be going back and forth between these two Sfarim to be able to, again, directing us to understand where we're going with all this. Honestly, I'm standing b'chilu re'ada, literally with a lot of trembling and awe before this next level, because I hope that I always feel like this, but I know that I feel like this right now, b'lev shalem, that I've never felt more shalem with the decision of what we're learning. I've never felt more complete with regarding what we're going to be learning right now. And this time, there's a lot of practical lemaisa. I don't know what that looks like yet. I don't know if it means, okay, then we're going to come out of here, and now we're going to have our own new party, our political party, and now we know what we're going to be doing exactly. But I do know that I want as many chevra as possible learning this Torah right now. I think the first thing I want to share about this kind of type of learning is, I'm looking around the room, and yes, Baruch Hashem, we have a big chevra. We have a lot of chevra learning with us, and I'm so proud that consistently for so long already, we've had such a strong presence of learning, of hityatzvut, of coming forward and sharing and waking up. But we have to bring in more chevra. We have to bring in more people to understand, to say, just try try and learn with us. Try and think like us just for a little bit. See what it's like. I also know that we're in times where everyone is busy with very important things, and everyone's doing things, and there's all these things going on. I feel like this is mamash hora'at sha'ah. Like literally, this is our time right now to say, all my inyanim, all my things, all my businesses, all the things I could really push off later for another 40 minutes in the morning to really set myself hopefully straight and pnima, I owe it to Am Yisrael, and I owe it to myself, I owe it to the Ribono Shalom. I owe it to the Ribono Shalom. I owe it to my neshama. I can't lie to my neshama. I owe it to my soul. And we have to realize that we're going to be addressing a great question. And I was challenged by someone. He doesn't even realize he challenged me. But it's a good challenge. What are we offering the world? We know what we're not offering the world. But what are we offering the world? What are we offering Am Yisrael? What is this Medina offering Am Yisrael? Besides protection. You see, we have to shift. Again, if it's really the next 75 years, we have to shift from whatever we were offering, whatever we were displaying, whatever we were speaking of in the name of why we're here, and now we have to go to the other way. We speak so much about we're against this, we're against anti-Semitism, we're against all that. Of course we are. Hopefully, even saying of course is a questionable thing these days. Of course we are. We know what we're against. What are we for? What are we for? What are we actually sharing right now, right? A lot of questions are going to be coming up right now. What are we sharing? What is the matzah? What is on the platform? What is the agenda? What are we showing the world? This is where our love and connection to the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov will show up right now in our understanding of why we're here and what we're doing here. It's got to be, and it's such a bashet that we're starting this the day before Hanukkah, before the Yantiv of Light, which this year is probably more needed more than ever, and on the other hand, feeling more impossible than ever to really allow ourselves to go to the zone of Hanukkah when everyone knows we haven't even finished Hakofas yet of Simchas Torah. So therefore, I want to give us a bracha embarking on this journey with some really grounded patience, determination, and tefillah throughout the whole time that what we're learning right now is just as important as if you were mamash a chayal on the battlefield. Literally, because this is our battlefield. It is. If, like we always say, if our chayalim are willing to give their lives to go out to the battlefield every single day, and unfortunately every day we're hearing of another shivahom, aleinu lechazek et yidei hachayalim hakdoshim shlanu. We have to strengthen the Maccabim of today, the Baalei Mesirus Nefesh, and we have to be Maccabim. We really have to dig even deeper, to go deeper inside, to understand, what am I offering the world? What am I offering Am Yisrael? What am I telling someone? What am I sharing? And it all is based on understanding why Hashem put us to be alive in this era, with this whole wave of what we're hopefully calling an awakening. So I don't just want to be awake, I want to stay awake, and I want to know lema'aseh what I'm supposed to be doing right now in this world. L'maaseh. So you can pass these out. This is the first chapter that you have in front of you from the Sefer Tikkun Medina. And this is from Moriva Rabbi Rav Yitzchak Ginsburg Shlita. Hashem should give him strength, many more years of light, of Torah, of good health. And this is for you. So if you have a pen and you wanna, I would actually recommend that those of you, there's maybe certain words that you'll be important for you to hear, to write it out. Like treat this like be'emet, you're gonna have a soul midterm on. You know what I mean? Like you will. Like we all will. By the way, we're all gonna have a big. We're all gonna be tested on this. Do you understand what I mean? We're all gonna be tested. We're already being tested on this, but we're all really gonna be tested on this. Now, one of the most important things when it comes to learning halacha is the concept of koach dehetera adifa. Koach dehetera adifa means that if you're able and have the wisdom and the basis to be matir something, to allow something, to permit something, we always prefer that than disqualifying something. Like, I remember our Rosh Kollel when I was in Amiftar, when we were learning years ago. It's one of the first things he said to us. He said to us, to be a machmir, you don't have to be a Talmid Chacham. It's very easy. To be matir, not mekel, but matir something, you have to really know what it is. Now, it's very easy. Why am I saying this? Because when you stop for a second, it's so easy to passel everything that's here. Everything that's here that's in the function of the government, of the Medina, of everything. It's so easy to completely say, this whole thing is puzzle. Why? Because in its shoresh, it wasn't really about a Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's easy. It's an easy thing to say. And there's like a taiva to even say it. It's like, and start from scratch. But we have to realize something. The Medina, the country, is probably the most potent vessel that the world has ever seen since Beis HaMikdash. The Medina, it's a vessel, a kli. The question is, what light has been poured into that vessel? What has been poured into this potent vessel? And that's where it's like a twofold level of avoda. On the one hand, to lekabel et ha'uvda, to accept the fact that the Medina, the country, the state is a vessel. But on the other hand, to realize that doesn't mean that you have to subscribe to what's been poured into this vessel for 75 years. And there's tension between those two places. Everyone's with me so far? Yeah.
I would say further, a vessel is what we make of it. The vessel itself has no positive or negative quality. It's what we put in it and how we use it.
The vessel is a gift.
Yes.
Yeah, the vessel is a gift. It's a gift. So again, it's easy to say, but this is a pach gadol, right? It's a pach gadol. It's easy to say the vessel itself needs to be replaced. Now, what would that mean? What would that mean, the Maaseh? Vessel being replaced would mean, okay, let's go back to America and to Europe for about like 30 years or 25 years, and let's like rethink everything. Like, let's let this whole place, this whole country, just go to the dogs, because Mele, so much of it has gone to the dogs on a ra'ayoni level, on an idealistic level. Now let's go back and then come back next time with a clear understanding of what we're doing. Let's get a whole generation, the next generation, the young generation, that hasn't been polluted by a lot of the way that we've been thinking. Obviously, none of us is going to do that, right? Right? No one's thinking that, right? I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I had like that thought for one day the last 60 days. I'm like, you know what? Set up shop in Northern Ontario. I'm telling you, it'll just be like, זה לא הולך לקרות. So Rav Ginsburg is going to say to us, okay, let's look מבחינה, not what our eyes see. Let's go pnima, to what has actually been happening here, and when did everything begin? We have to go back to the beginning of the formation of the current vessel to understand on a soul level what it is we're busy, what is the avodah that we're really busy doing here right now, okay? So let's go like this. Obviously, I love the chapter, the title, because Adayin Efshar Letaken, even though it seems so hard to believe that. Adayin Efshar Letaken. It's not too late to fix. To fix the tochen of the content that's poured into this vessel. Kacha. Medinat Yisrael נוסדה בה' אייר תש"ח, במעמד בו הוצהר על הקמתה. So when was the current state founded? It was the 5th of ER 1948, where we declared, Anu machrizim bazot al hakamat medina, right? You know, the Ben Gurion's famous speech. Ubo chatmu meyazdea al Megillat ha'atzmaut. And that's when its founders signed what's called the Scroll of Independence, Megillat ha'atzmaut, which for many of us was just as holy as Megillas Esther and all the other Megillot. That's the world many of us grew up in, that was Kodesh Kodashim, Megillat ha'atzmaut. Right? What's it called? What's the right title for it in English? Declaration of Independence. Right? ביום זה חזרו חלקים מארץ הקודש, המובטחת מפי השם יתברך לעם ישראל לשלטון יהודי, בפעם הראשונה מאז קרוב ל2000 שנה. So do not belittle that. What ended up happening? Parts of Eretz HaKodesh, which was promised from Hashem to Am Yisrael, were returned to Jewish sovereignty for the first time in nearly 2,000 years. Don't belittle that. That's a massive fact. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. Hey Iyar noda ke Yom HaAtzmaut. And that's what Yom HaAtzmaut is known as. The Day of Independence, the day that the declaration for this amazing moment in time took place. Al af mashmauto v'chishivuto haraba shel iruah zeh. And as great and as meaningful as that actually was, hayta medina chadasha netulat lev. What does natul lev mean? Missing the heart. As holy as it was, as special as it was, we have to understand that the day that our independence was declared was a body without a heart. What are we referring to? Yerushalayim ha'atika mekom beit hamikdash. ומוקד תפילותיהם ותקוותיהם של היהודים נותרה בידי זרים. The place and the focus and the headquarters of ותחזינה עינינו בשוב חלל ציון ברחמים, of 2,000 years of dreaming of coming back to Eretz Yisrael, the headquarters of that prayer was still governed by Zarim, by Jordanians. Nachon? It still wasn't ours. So this is important for us to realize this. This is very important. We have to stop for a second and think about it. We came back, there was this massive, massive simcha. But what do you think the Yid that carried with him 2,000 years of tears of V'techazena Einenu b'shuv chalet Zion berachamim felt on the day that the independence was declared, when the heart was not part of the declaration? What's that?
Couldn't even go to daven or anything.
I think about that all the time. Like, what was he thinking? The guy that was carrying 2,000 years of tefillahs, what was he thinking on Hey Iyar?
So close.
So close, yet so far, right?
Almost.
19 shanim lachar miken, 19 years after that, shuv bechodesh Iyar, again on the month of Iyar, hapam bekaf chet, the day, the 28th day, kaf chet, the 28th day of the month, שוחררה גם ירושלים העתיקה מידי הערבים במלחמת ששת הימים. So 19 years later, then the heart, well, we'll see. A chunk of the heart got released, got restored to us from the Ishmael. And then, this is during the 6-Day War, obviously, 19 years after Milchemet Atzmaut. And afterwards, Yerushalayim habnuya ke'ir shechubra la yachdav. Like we say in Tehillim, that Yerushalayim is like a city that was, how do you say this in proper biblical English? Ari or Jeremy? Oh, there's a phrase. You guys know this better than me. You guys know the English stuff. Ke'ir shechubra la yachdav. Like a city that has joined together, let's say. Yom Zeh, koach be'iyar, strength of the month of Iyar, noda ke'yom Yerushalayim. Yom Atzmaut, Yom Yerushalayim. Personally, I'll share with you, there have been many years that I, in my heart, boycotted Hey Be'iyar and went nuts on Kafchet Be'iyar. But that's just childish stuff. It's just part of the process of where we're getting to today. But I'm happy I had that struggle. I wish all of us had these types of struggles, because that means sheyesh lanu muda'ut, we have an awareness that yesh po ba'ayot, there's tension going on over here. Meaning, I felt like if I'm not, I can only celebrate for be'emet the day that the heart starts pumping again, which would be Yom Yerushalayim. But then the voice comes and says, yeah, but there wouldn't be Yom Yerushalayim if there wasn't Yom Atzmaut. And then the inner chatterbox begins, and I just shut the whole thing off, and I say, let's go to Northern Ontario again. So I'm trying to work with it, and over the years, it's been very interesting, up and down, up and down, up and down. ואומנם, למרות האירועים הניסיים הללו, נראה שמדינת ישראל שרויה בסבך של משברים מדרדרים והולכים. And despite these amazing, miraculous moments that we experienced in the last generation, which is 1948 and 1967, it seems that Medinat Yisrael has basically gotten caught in a world of crisis after crisis. And I'm not just talking about Taksiv Medina, the budget. All these different mashbirim, midarderim, like midarder means things that are dwindling down, bringing you down, v'holchim, and they don't stop. HaTeror ve'hamilchama me'aimim alea mikol tzad. This was written years ago, by the way, these words, but obviously there's no difference.
I was actually going to ask, you don't...
Yeah, I know it's written somewhere, but this I know. The other one was written right after the Hitnatkut. This one I'm not sure yet. I'll look deeper inside. It seems that the country, that terror and war continues to threaten us from every corner. Manhigei Medina megasheshim be'afela. The leaders of the country, legashesh be'afela. You know what that means? Groping in the dark. Toch vitur yom yomi al zchuyot yesodiyot shel am hayehudi be'artzo. While continuing to give up on basic rights of the Jewish people in their land. Zatomeret. It's like we never worked up somewhere. It seems that from the moment that we got here, we got these two miracles, and since then, it's downward. It seems like that on a certain level. Nachon? It seems like it's like clarity. Hashem, all the prophecies are true. It's true. It's true. And then the moment that we reach these peaks, it's like, what do we do with it? Oh, this is what we do with it. And since then, אנחנו מסתבכים ומסתבכים ומסתבכים.
Seems to be a cycle.
Yeah. הם משחררים ללא היגיון אזורים אסטרטגיים חיוניים ונותנים אותם בידי אויבים מושבעים. We have Am Yisrael, after the thousands of years, has come back here, and since reaching these peaks, have given back strategic pieces of land to people that swear that they want us dead, תוך כדי דריסת אחדים מן העקרונות הקדושים ביותר שהיו לעם ישראל במשך כל הדורות. While there seems to be continuation of stepping all over holy principles that Am Yisrael had for many generations. המדינה קרועה ושסועה לציבוריה השונים. The country is ripped up regarding when it comes to all of its different tziburs, all of its different populations, al reka medini, dati, v'chevrati. When it comes to politics, when it comes to socialism, and of course, when it comes to matters of religion. האידיאולוגיה הלאומית בלטה לה והלכה. The national ideology, which once was baltala. You know what baltala means? Like livlol. It just, huh? Yeah, no, not livloa. Livlo, levalel means it just kind of like disintegrated. Thank you. V'halcha. The ideologia leumit, like the national ideology. What may have been clear, like maybe there was like he's going to explain if it was good or it was bad, but for now it was like even being clear about why we're here, if it ever was. אין בה עוד כוח להפיח רוח חיים בבני ובנות העם. He means, when you say the word Zionism, right? When you say tzionut, it used to be, that's everything. That's going to be the passion of the next generation. And we're saying, that even those words and the way we are representing it, what we're offering to the world, what we're offering to the next generation, it's not mefiach. It doesn't give us light and strength to a whole new world, to a whole new era. And therefore also what gets weakened by that? The moral, ethical spirit of the people as well. You know, as many of you know, one of my favorite singers ever was Meir Banai, Alav Shalom. That's the Amud Tfilah that we have upstairs, Meir Ben Yitzchak, right? So he has a song on one of his albums. It's a piyut that the Sfardim say on, I don't know, maybe one of the Chaver here will tell me when you say it. It's called Ayelet Chen Bagalut Tismecheni. Uvalayla Betoch Me'ai. No? Have you heard it before? Ayelet Chen. You've yeah? Yom Kippur, did you say?
I think it's Slichot, maybe?
Slichot. It could be Slichot. The album was all like piyutim of Elul and Tishrei. So someone asked him, an interviewer, Sivan Rav Meir was interviewing him when the album came out. And she asked him, she said, Bagalut tismecheni, איך אתה מתחבר למילים האלו? Like Hashem in the galut, bring me closer. He says, תראי, לפעמים אני כאילו מסתכל פה על מה שקורה בארץ, עם רציחות, גנבות, מעילות, ואני באמת מרגיש לפעמים שאני בגלות. He wasn't saying a Zionist statement. He was just saying that, and he said it so simply. He wasn't trying to make anything, but he said, what I heard from what he was saying is that, do you think we came back to Eretz Yisrael to live in a society that still has murders and robberies and all the stuff that you see other places in the world? So you'll come and say, we've been already wired to say, no, it's part of the process. Everything's part of the process. Briat HaOlam is part of the process. Everything's part of the process. But basic things, Rav Ginsburg is saying, mifchinat musar, just basic ethics. Basic ethics, human ethics. We see that they've dwindled down here. You see how many politicians are... forget about if you like their opinions or not. We've had presidents and prime ministers in jail. Stop for a second. And you'll run to say, oh, but the Supreme Court is corrupt. Of course it is, but it's also, these people are criminal, meaning we have people of representing Am Yisrael that are criminal. So you'll say, but in the whole world it's like that. And that's the danger. That's exactly the danger. Yes, in the whole world it's like that, because that's the whole world. That is not the way it's supposed to be here. That's not v'techazena einenu b'shuvcha l'tzion berachmim. But we've already accepted that the way things work here is like this, and this is what it's like building a country. And that's the wake-up call. It's like, I don't know who wired us like that. Ze lo amor liot kacha. That's not supposed to be like it. We're going to see where this sprouted, like where the ability to even think that it's okay to think like this came from. And we're going to do a fix. Shachar just asked me, I'm going to find out. You see, his Sfarim are always, here, 1 second.
There's at least 15 years.
Is it like a copyright page?
It seems that this publication came out in 2005.
It's also around
But I'm not sure exactly when the shooting was said. I'll find out. But he could have written this in 1983. Do you understand? He could have written this in the last 75 years. But it's definitely more in the last 20 years. Put it like that. Okay. I remember when I got it, it was 2005, 2006. So maybe it was right around then.
Okay, so we can achieve these levels before the Beit HaMikdash is standing again?
Do you hear his question? That's one of the greatest questions. That's one of the most important questions what Itamar just asked. Say it louder and clearer.
Are we able to achieve these levels that we're aspiring to reach before the Beit HaMikdash is standing?
I'll ask it differently. Can the Beit HaMikdash be standing before we've reached those levels? This is interesting, because these are two schools of thought within Yiddishkeit that come and clash.
And it's so confusing, it's like the suffix.
This is exactly Amash. What you're bringing up is an amazing, important nekuda over here that we have to understand hashkafically, and we have to look at what pnimiyus Torah says to us about this. Because the voice that says we can't, and we have to just do our best and wait till the Beis HaMikdash is here,
Maybe that's where we're at now.
further will come to a clear conviction that don't even try.
That's the other side.
Williamsburg, Monroe, stay there. Don't try, because if you mess this up, it's too dangerous, right? Now, obviously, we don't subscribe so much to that voice because we're here. But on the other hand, we got to think about these things. The vessel is so strong. The vessel of having the structure here to make this a place where we morally, ethically, on all levels, are living higher than the rest of the world, demands of us so much more than the way that we've been thinking up until now. Third line. Dome ki ata barur lakol. It seems that it's clear almost to everyone. שלמרות תהליך השיבה העצום שהתרחש בדור הקודם, that despite the tremendous movement of return, of physical return that happened in the previous generation, ובו שבו מיליוני יהודים לארצם ובנו אותה, where millions of Jews came back and started building the land, עדיין רחוקה מדינת ישראל מהגשמת האמיתית והשלמה. It still seems that Am Yisrael is still very far from fulfilling the Jewish vision of the full and complete redemption. So far, anyone have any machlokes on this? Or everyone feels like we're really close? The way it's set up right now.
I do have a machlok.
Yeah?
It's easy to see things that are wrong. We've never had more institutions of Torah throughout Eretz Yisrael and specifically in Yerushalayim ever. Not in the days of the first Beit HaMikdash, not in the days of the second Beit HaMikdash.
And therefore,
that we're in a forward momentum.
if the type of Torah that was being learned in institutions that you're speaking about was being learned here, we wouldn't have as much machloket as we have in the time that we have today.
The Pirut started with
Let him offer. Let the Rav offer an alternative way of thinking of where the period began, but that actually makes me even sadder, because essentially, of course it's true. There's never been more Talmud Torah. You have more problems with the institutions than even I do.
Of course I do.
Right. So I'm saying. Exactly. So I'm saying the fact. Exactly. So the fact that it's all there. The fact that there are more Jews here than ever before, and there are more institutions than ever before, and together with that, there's more Chilul Shabbos than there ever was before, and there's more treif restaurants than ever before, meaning all those things are facts on the ground. These are not opinions. But what kind of vision do we have for an Eretz Yisrael that's filled with Jews?
Would we be happier if we had universities and colleges, the Makom Nir and Brisk and et cetera, No.
Because the vessel to contain all of this is the largest vessel in the world. The question is not just, let's just put up another yeshiva. Let's just build another shul.
You have to keep purifying.
You have to go into the heart. This talich of building the country began without a heart. It began heartless. It took 19 years to restore. I'm very careful with saying, what did we restore after 19 years? The parking lot of the heart. You understand what he meant by that? What did he mean by that? That we restored the parking lot of the heart? Right. We could have at that moment.
Even that's not correct. We were mevater.
Right.
It's not that we did it. We were actively mevater.
Nachon.
And in the last few years, there's been an increase, a significant, not only increase in Aliyah.
He's talking about Har HaBayit and Makom HaMikdash. Yeah.
But tefillah on Har HaBayit, which would have been unimaginable 5 years ago.
Nachon.
We'd all be in jail.
Okay. Let's continue. The fact is that we still haven't reached what the tears of V'techazena Eineinu b'shuv Chalitzion Berachmim. Could we all agree on that? With all the gewaldige things you're mentioning, it's still not the tears of V'techazena Eineinu b'shuv Chalitzion Berachmim. It's a lot of other tears, but it's not the tefillas that kept us alive in Galut. Efshar lekabel et zeh. By the way, this is supposed to make you guys happy and optimistic. That's why you got to let me keep on going a little bit, okay? ואף על פי כן, אין הקדוש ברוך הוא מכה את ישראל, אלא אם כן בורא להם רפואה תחילה. Chazal tell us, Hashem never strikes us before first providing the refuah. That's a klal. Before first providing the refuah. הקדוש ברוך הוא נטע בנו את הכוח לתקן את המצב הזה. Hashem planted within you and I that are alive right now in the year 2023 with an amazing, amazing ability to fix the current matzav, to fix it. Not in the way that we fix computer bugs and other problems, to fix it me'alev shelanu, with all the distractions that cell phones and all these things are in our minds and in our ways and with us while we're during Chazaras Hashatz and during Shir, and yet still Hashem believes in us that we could go beyond it. Hashem planted, He placed the refuah before. הקדוש ברוך הוא נטע בנו את הכוח לתקן את המצב הזה, שנראה לכאורה חסר תקווה, that seemingly seems to be so helpless, like the way Shachar's face looks like right now. אם נתבונן בדרכי ההשגחה האלוקית, if we look at the ways of השגחה, godly השגחה, נוכל להבחין ברפואה החבויה באותן הנסיבות שהביאו להקמת המדינה ולשחרור ירושלים. This is the key line of this Torah so far. If we nitbonen, if we have introspection and look deeply in darkei hashgacha elokit, on God's divine ways of running the world, we could be able to detect refuah hachavuya. You know what chavui means? Hidden. Right, the hidden healing that's already placed within the way that Yom Ha'atzmaut and Yom Yerushalayim took place. So we have to look deeper. You think Hashem, it just happened to be that Ben Gurion was the one that decided all this? You think it was Ben Gurion, it was him? And he chose the date? And he chose the place? A Yid, a Baal Shemsker Yid, doesn't live with that shtuyot. A Yid that lives with the light of the Baal Shem Tov says, okay, Hashem wanted that to happen then, and at that time, and at that month. Let me look deeper and try to understand why. This whole parak is about the month of Iyar. Not just to tell us Zgula is about the month of Iyar, but that's when these two things happened. Hey Be'iyar and Kafchet Be'iyar. What is the month of Iyar? What refuah is contained within the month of Iyar that's telling us today what to do? Okay? Wow, I didn't think it'd be this heavy, guys. This is like a... You okay? No. But aren't you excited that you made Aliyah like 2 years ago? Like a...
Yeah, of course. I don't want to be anywhere.
Because you believe, because we believe that if we're here now, it's in order to letaken et hamatzav. None of us are going to accept what was before Simchas Torah. Is that correct? Yeah. None of us are accepting the same mitziyut. Whatever that means, we're going to try to figure out lemaisa what that means.
We accepted it before either, but like...
Right.
More so now.
No, we did.
We kind of did.
Even more so now.
We kind of did.
Yeah, people were complacent with what was.
Yeah,
what was
I
before.
persisted, but I still had Arabs working on my farm. I still was working within that context. It definitely.
It's so much deeper than just not having Arabs working. That's one
It's a
thing.
manifestation of an internal.
Correct. It's much deeper.
The complacency of like the status quo of Am Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael.
100%.
There's no live. Where's the live? Where's the mikdash? I work so close to the kotel. I see it every day.
See the kotel.
At a certain point, I just got. I'm sorry to say, I got old. Like.
Of course, it got old.
Yeah, but like when I first came here, and even when I used to come before, it was just like wow.
The kotel.
Like,
yeah.
It's psyched up. Now it's like still it has. There's something there.
When I talk to
it's like,
friends, when they come down from
old.
Har HaBayit, the hardest thing for them in the hardest place for them to look at is the kotel. When they go up to Har HaBayit, they always tell me after that it's very hard for them to relate to the kotel, to look at the kotel.
Not to downplay it, but still.
It's just the mitzvah. I have a whole vort on this that like the kotel is the same word letters as tilchu. You got to keep on walking. You think this was it? Tilchu? Are you kidding me? Tilchu. Tamshichu lelechet.
Could it be, Rabbi, that what we've done is brought Golos to Eretz Yisrael with us? In other words, our own Golos attitude came with us into Eretz Yisrael. And that is the major tickle that we need to have.
Of course. That's been the topic for the last 7 months on the Sunday morning women's shir. Mamash that we came here. It's not our fault. That's what 2,000 years of Golos are going to do to you. But we didn't have leaders showing us. We didn't have Rabbeim. We didn't have the tzaddikim explaining to us how to live a Geula Dika Yiddishkeit once you come here. And now people are finding that actually in places of Chutz La'aretz, that they're living pnimiyus Geula Dika Yiddishkeit without being here. Right. And many of us can relate to that. A lot of those Torahs, the teachings, because they're not yet, it's not loud enough here, it's not bright enough here. And that's, in my opinion, one of the main things we have to work on. That's why, Steve, what you said before about all the yeshivas and everything, It's a lo kol kach marshim oti, because the shaila is, what kind of light is emanating? What kind of geula dikatora is emanating from all the institutions?
Tragedy
You know?
is that when I have posted many of these yeshiva books, I talk about, so considering, could you see yourself? The majority are very clear. Nothing so.
Eretz Yisrael is just like a 1 to 3 year thingy. Yeah.
Wow.
So when there's a mapitom response.
Yeah, you know why? Do you know why? Do you know why their answer is 1 to 3 years? Because what are you offering them? Other than saying you have to live here. That's the nikuda. And that is something I'm going to make. Get pshat of the Torah. Are you kidding me? You know how many pshats of the Torah don't go through to people? People are looking for more than pshat of the Torah. They're looking for the remez, drash, and sod. If it was the pshat of the Torah people were looking for, all the Yidden would be here. They're not looking for that. They're looking for inside. And we still don't really know how to give them inside. So what are you expecting them? What would you expect them? A Yeshiva Bacher that's coming here for the year and learning here, that it's not clear to him he's going to stay here. What are you offering him besides a pshat? I love you. I'm saying this out loud. It's not about you. It's about all of us. What are we offering them?
I met an 18-year-old yeshiva bacher in Yerushalayim 2 weeks ago. Who's from Baltimore.
Yeah.
And they said, like, what are you thinking? Next steps is like, yeah, I'm like, looking for a shidduch, whatever. And said, like, what about like living? What do you? I said, yeah, I consider Eretz Yisrael, but like, it's hard to, I heard it's hard to make parnassa here. 18-year-old kid. I said, have you ever worked before? Like, how? He said, no. Like, how could you even say that? Like, that shouldn't be your problem. Like, you shouldn't even be thinking that. Like, that's how deep this has been. This is ingrained in us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's wild.
But it still stems from the way that how have we offered Eretz Yisrael to the world? How have we offered the privilege of being here? When we go the route of, no, you can make parnasa here, you not only did you lose, in my opinion, you're blemishing. You're blemishing the whole thing. You're blemishing. I'm saying when you talk about Eretz Yisrael to someone and explain to them that it's to try to get them to be here and saying you could also, don't worry, you can make parnasa here. So that's Sichon. Sichon is the Rosh Memshala of Eretz Yisrael at that moment. Sichon Melech Heshbon is the prime minister, the king of calculations. Ze lo yachol liot ze. Because you know what? We've tried that. People say that all the time. And it's true that you have big rabbanim that tell people to make aliyah only if they can make a parnasa. It happened with you, Nachon.
I asked him that.
No, don't say which
Rabbi,
right.
And I asked him literally 5 times. And he said, Hashem lo azman, Hashem lo azman, Hashem lo azman. Then finally, on the 6th time, he said, first the question was, what are you doing for parnasa?
Right. Now, where's that coming from, that question? It's coming from a very holy place. It is. But it's not coming from an Eretz Yisrael mochin of pnimiyus.
How can we even say it's coming from a holy place?
Because what he's concerned about,
Rosh Hashanah, our
Pshat.
parnasa is,
Pshat.
and because
oh, we're gonna have a good time. We are gonna have a good time. I love
here
this.
for 3-4 years, and they still keep 2 days young.
Stop talking about them. I'm sick of this. I'm honestly, I'm not going to continue this. What are we talking about them? We have it right.
Well, we keep 1 day young.
Who cares? That's.
It's not the ikr. That's not the ikr.
Do you know that there was a big? You're going to think I'm whatever. I'm sure it's stam od shemen lamdura. Why are we talking about them? What good does that do? I'm not interested. Them, our brothers and sisters that haven't had the schus of hearing Lech Lecha, as if we know it was us. Kochi v'otzem yadi brought me to Eretz Yisrael. Eze shtuyot. Chevra, it's not about pointing out how much they don't get it. It's about realizing that if we were chosen to be here in this time, that we have to get it. That we have to get it. This is what, no, we're getting it. We're on our way to getting it. We're on our way to getting it. In comparison to where we were a few months ago or a few years ago, yes, we're on our way to getting it. En yeush ba'olam klal. Even after Simchas Torah. En Yeush Ba'olam Klal. But a few things we have to make clear, because honestly, that talk of them, it's not just that I think it's not the point. I think that it's chosem. It blocks us from what the real shorish is. The real shorish is those that are in Eretz Yisrael. Where are you operating from? How are you talking about Eretz Yisrael? How do you understand this? How are you trying to give it over?
I think what I've said it in the opening statement of what these Torahs are going to be. It's much easier to parcel something.
It's so easy. It's so easy.
And the answer to your question.
To parcel, to
I think
lifsol.
the answer to your question is if we're all learning the Torah of how to matir in all the yeshivas, and we're learning and we're living how to matir, then we're the light unto the nations, and then that's the purpose of us being there.
The purpose to say it's very, very good. I want to just expound on this, and we're going to stop there. What we're trying to say here is that the way when we look at the situation, and we're looking at it not pnimiyus, but we're looking at it with chitzonius. When we don't take the light of the Baal Shem Tov into our minds and souls, you will continue to hit a brick wall. What's that brick wall? What is that brick wall? How does it manifest? What's the brick wall? Like, they're there, we're here. How could it be? That's a brick wall. That you don't go anywhere with that. And the more that I believe that I'm right because I'm here and they're all crazy, it's not just that it's not true. It's that it's honestly it's kindergarten. It's diapers.
It's self-righteous.
The 75 years of religious Zionism that thought like that and acted like that has not really brought a new light that the new generation is waiting for. That's not it. Zeloze. Now it's a new door. Now it's a door that's doresh mashu harbe yoter amok. It's demanding something much, much deeper than that. And I see how much we're wired already, most of us. It's like it's so hard for us to rewire ourselves because of our convictions of what's right and what's wrong. But this is where the Baal Shem Tov comes in, and the first stage of everything in Avodas HaNefesh of the Baal Shem Tov is Hachna'a, Anava. First stage. All those things you thought. Hachna'a, which is the opposite of the way that the leadership in this country has been operating from day one. And it's not just the leadership of the government, all forms of leadership here. It was not the Rosh Muram we were talking about healthy Bnei Yisrael pride, right? I'm talking about the type of anava that's needed, that you could still walk like this, but you understand the reason, Atah Melech HaOlam. But the way that Rav Ginsburg is going to draw this picture for us is like, wait a second. All of this, you could call it a balagan, which is true. You could also call it the beginning of the Geula, which could also be true. You could call it whatever it is. The facts on the ground is that Hashem chose puppets and pawns named Ben Gurion, Moshe Dayan, Tzaddikim as well. They're also pawns,
Medina,
right?
Also.
The concept of Medina, Zionism, all these things, Hashem chose it. And when did it begin to do its thing in the world? In the month of Iyar. Both times. Hey Be'iyar, Kavchet Be'iyar. For us to begin the process of a healthy way, of trying to fix things here, we have to look at things in a different way, pnimi way, and that demands of us anava. It demands of us to humble ourselves and say, with all the things like that I was sure I did right, and there's a lot of holy things I did too. Rega, anachnu adayin bebroch. We're still. It's a big balagan. It's a big mishigas. We're going to continue next week to look pnima into what the mahut of the month of Iyar, to find the refuah for the time of right now. That's the purpose of it. Not just to give you vorts about the month of Iyar, to find the healing that is, if we believe, En HaKadosh Baruch Hu, mavita makah ad shemivita refuah, if we believe that God always gives the healing before he gives the smack, the month of Iyar was here before the current state, the modern state of Israel, correct? Mm-hmm. Let's go to Pnima. It's going to take a lot of humbling and a lot of patience, but what a privilege to say that the Torah that we're learning is mamish b'shem kol Yisrael. Okay, shkarach everyone. That's a criteria for this learning, by the way.
Yeah.
A simcha.
Okay.
I had a big tish Friday night, my house, 35 guys. My birthday and I was sharing over this Nakama board. Yeah, like